Good afternoon and welcome to America's Home Cooking. Try number 2 on the raspberry cream pie. For those of you who didn't get my short note, I had to throw that pie out. The way it was put together, I've had to redo it. I'd strongly recommend that you don't put a topping on it. Anyway, we're going to make it this way and it should work. We need 1 cup of flour. You need a 9-inch pie plate and you have to put wax paper in it so the pie crust doesn't burn. That's why you actually put the wax paper there, because if you don't, it will burn. The trick people don't always know. You need a half a teaspoon of salt. We're going to put a tablespoon of wheat germ in this for the B vitamins for the crust and the trace minerals and all. Now we're going to do, it wants 1/3 of a cup of shortening. So this time we're going to use measuring spoons. I show you different ways to measure because some people have measuring spoons, some people use water. We're going to do it this way. So to get 1/3 of a cup of shortening, it's going to be 5 tablespoons. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 1 teaspoon, and that is actually 1/3 cup. How did I learn these? We had to learn all of this. People who sit there and tell you just put a little this or a little that in, it's very confusing when you have people who are learning to cook, because they need exact measurements so they know what things look like. So they can sit there and say, oh, well, I've done this or this. If I make a mistake, I'm going to tell you I make a mistake, and I'll sit there and tell you point blank, don't use the recipe. That's why I deleted the raspberry cream pie last time, because I made it late at the end of the day, so I didn't have time to try it. The next day I tried it, and because it had sat out all night and it had cream in it and stuff, I had to throw the whole thing out. It didn't cook at all, and I said, okay, well, that's going in the trash. And the whole pie, I just threw it right in the trash. And my son said, Mommy, I had looked forward to having that. And I said, well, I'm going to make it the following week. I first wanted to finish cleaning the house before I made it again. I just finished yesterday. Though I have the yard to do now. It's one thing if not another. Now you're going to work this in. They say 2 knives or a pastry cutter. Some people do it with their hands. But you want it to look like oatmeal, crumbly is what you're working for. That's why you see me work such a long time. Now we're going to add water to this, but we're only going to add it by tablespoons. I just can't remember how many to put in. I'm one of these people that have so many recipes and cookbooks that when I go into them, I can't remember. All right, we're gonna add 1 tablespoon right now. It calls for 2, but we're adding 1, and we're gonna work 1 in first. And if you continue working it, you'll notice that it'll come together really easy. You can keep it in the bowl. Now, today I'm going to talk about the metabolic rate. In other words, how your body burns food and why people end up putting weight on as they get older, especially women after they go through menopause. What it is when you're young, up to the age of 25, you're growing, so you can eat a ton of food, and you're gonna just put it to use, and then you're active and being active and young. All right, and then you get in your 20s and you start having children, and you're still busy, except you're running after your children. You got a house you've got to care for and everything, and if you're working, you've got that as well. So you have a lot going on. So you can eat and you still don't put the weight on, but then your children grow up, and then you have the grandkids, so you're running around chasing them because, they come over, they keep you busy, and you still got the house and you got your husband and everything. But once you hit menopause, things really slow down for you. You're not as active as before, but you keep on eating the same way like you were a 20-year-old. As you get older, and you'll notice this in your 30s and 40s, that if you're working, you can go longer before you get hungry. When you were a child, you were hungry all the time. If you smelled it, you were going to eat it. Walking home from school, I remember being little, walking home from school, and God, smelling what everybody was going to have, you wanted to try everything. But as you get older, you notice, definitely by 40s, you can definitely see that, it takes longer for the food to burn up unless you stay extremely active. And even then, you can do more on less. Because I notice now, I don't eat unless I get hungry. Sometimes I work all morning before I even sit down and eat. And sometimes I don't even have supper because I'm just not hungry. Well, it's me, so what do I have to worry about? I'm not cooking for a family, Yes, my sons are at work and all, but they're not home. So, I eat when I get hungry. If I'm not hungry, I don't eat. So you have to realize that when you get older, you're going to have to stay active. But remember, it takes more before you get hungry. But if you're accustomed to eating 3 meals a day, you get up, you say, I've got to eat, I've got to have breakfast. Why do you have to have breakfast if you're not hungry? I know, wrap this in saran wrap, but I'm going to do it in plastic because I'll be back at it real quick. So I'm going to use plastic wrap. We're going to put this in the refrigerator in a disc shape while we get the other stuff together. Then we'll be pulling it back out and we'll be working with it. So think about that and what you're doing. You don't have to eat 3 meals a day. You're supposed to eat when you get hungry. And you're not supposed to stuff yourself till you're swollen in the midriff and you feel like, oh God, I have no room. What you want to do is curl up and sleep. You eat till you're full, not stuffed. There's a difference between eating when you're full and when you're stuffed. At Thanksgiving, everybody stuffs themselves. We stuff the turkey, and what do? Then we go and stuff ourselves afterwards. You think we'd get some common sense here, but you just remember, as you get older, if you're putting weight on and stuff, that is because you're not doing enough work to burn, because the rate that you're burning the food is slower. You don't have those hormones as high as you did when you were young, and you're not running marathons and everything at 60 and 50 years of age and everything like that. You're just not as active as you were. So just remember that. Put this in the refrigerator for now. All right, now let me get to the other recipe. This is 2 recipes, actually one to make the crust and then one to make the pie. another bowl, okay. I think this will do it, fingers crossed. All right, we're gonna need 2/3 of a cup of sugar. I gotta get the sugar. That's 2/3 sugar. We need 4 tablespoons of flour. Four tablespoons is 1/4 of a cup. But I'm going to use my measuring spoons I have here. I'm just going to wipe them up some. Teaspoon of salt. A 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon. So 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon here. Now I do not, they say 30% cream. Is that how it's written? Yeah, 30% of cream, which is easy to do. All what you do is add 1/3, because I never keep it, I keep milk and heavy cream in the house, so I don't have to make that 30% or what they call light cream. I'm going to pour 1/3 of heavy cream into here, because this is the ratio of how to make your own heavy cream. 1/3 cup, 2/3 milk, that's it. And you've got your 30% cream. Should have known I was going to cook the way I love fractions in my math. Whisk this all together. What I'm actually doing is breaking the flour up. That's why I use the whisk. It's much easier to do it that way. You're also going to need 4 cups of fresh raspberries. Now we're going to get back to that crust. Now, yeah, I just cleaned the house, and what am I doing? I'm dirtying it up. That's me. Okay, let's see how much. We need the oven at 400 degrees. I should get my head together instead of sitting there making a mess. Try to keep it clean. So do remember, you know, that as you get older, you're going to find you eat less and you get more done. Now we have to roll this out to about 11 inches because we have a 9-inch pie plate here and it's going to go up an inch. So it should be about 11 and a half inches. And I like to press it out as much as I can before I sit there and I start doing it. When you start rolling it out, the less you have to roll, the closer you can keep it into a circle. Because you use your hands. I even found out Romans made cheesecakes. The great empire, Christ's time, they made cheesecakes. Not what we know today, but they made a form of it. So cheesecakes have a long history. So as they say, there's nothing new under the sun with man. Let me take these off. I don't need these right now. Now what I'm doing is I press into the middle, and then I go around in circles and keep pressing out and make the circle bigger and bigger and bigger. I'm pressing out and then I go back into the middle. Now let's see how far we've come. We're already at 10 inches. You see how fast it goes? You don't have to race to make a crust. You take your time. I have to take my time. I'm not real good at it. My mother was very good at it. She rolled them out. Me, everything's measured. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I roll my crust up on my rolling pin gently. I see a lot of people say fold it or just do this and that, and mine always cracked right down the middle and I'd have to re-roll the whole thing again. I had to find a different way to do it. I saw somebody told me, you know, you can pat your crust out. You don't have to roll it as hard as you think you have to. I said, what? He said, no, you don't. I said, I thought. She said, no, no, no. Pat it out. You have to. Okay, I need a knife. Trim some of this. You see where I have some edges low and I have them high here? I can cut this off to bring them all pretty much the same. You take these little pieces and you can make them work for you as patching. Which I'm going to do. Okay. The only trick is that you've got to get one side wet, because the wet side is going to go up where you're patching. You don't want it wet on both sides, because then when you go to handle it, it will not work for you, because you want the dough to stick together, and that's the trick. If your hands get wet, for God's sakes, dry them. You will not regret drying your hands. Okay. Because if your hands are damp when you go to handle it, it's going to let you know. I'm actually going to be working on the edges, so it'll be quiet a bit here. Switch down here. Now I don't know if you can see it, but you see how I pulled it off the edging here? That's what I'm doing. And then once I have it there, then I can design it, which I'm just going to make a simple flute edge. Putting my thumb and my fingers like that and pressing against it, and it'll give that zigzag that you see on pies. So when they say a flute edge, they want it higher than the pie plate so you can make your design. Now if you have a crack down in the base of your pie, take these pieces, wet them, and work it gently into it. You can work dough back into itself. See how that design comes out? And see, when I do it, it pushes it just a little higher. That's why you want to get it off the edging there. Well, here's the 4 cups of raspberries. Sort of level it off without tearing your edging up. Mix this again because the flour is settling to the bottom. That's it. Now let me see what else. All right, we're going to bake until the crust is nicely browned and the filling has set. And that's going to be about 45 minutes, okay? I'm just going to let it cook, and I'll see you in 45 minutes. Okay, it's been 45 minutes. And we're going to check it. cook for about another 5 minutes, and I tapped the crust with my mitten and sort of made a dent in it. But anyway, I'll check it in 5 minutes. Okay, we're gonna check it. I think this time I'm bringing it out instead of trying to turn it around. Right here is where I tapped the crust by accident. Oh well. At least I have it done. But I will show you it up close. Here it is. Raspberry cream pie. Take care. Bye-bye.